Steve here. In this video I'm going to show you the exact monetization strategy that I use to find my niche. Now the tools that I use are Market Samurai and Google Keyword External tool, and both of them I provide a link at the bottom of this video. Now to get started, I actually went to Google External and grabbed a bunch of different keywords that I know relate to the breakup and get your X back niche. Now you see at the top here that they have something called the golden rules. Now these are a bunch of different presets that Market Samurai has to filter and sort your results. Now what I did is I turned them off. I actually got rid of the maximums and minimums that they include there. And the reason I did that is I like to actually get an idea of what type of competition the niche has instead of having Market Samurai tell me what they think I should compete for. Now kind of the reason I do that is because I don't really believe in a quantity of competition, but instead of the actual quality of the competition. Now the two things I look mostly for when I look at my keywords are SEOT, search engine traffic, which is the maximum potential daily clicks that you get with a #1 ranking, and PBR, phrase to broad match, or phrase to broad ratio. And basically this tells you the actual words that people will type into Google and the percentage of people using that actual word. So for instance, down here, get your girlfriend back, only about 24% of the people will actually type in that specific phrase. So a phrase with a low PBR means that there's a lot of permutations and different types of words that people use. So you want to go for a higher PBR. Generally, I would like to say shoot for at least a 30% PBR or better. Now another thing, with each phrase with Market Samurai there's a little key tool. You can actually press this key down and it'll give you the search results for that particular phrase, and you can do an analysis for each one of these key phrases, which helps you find a competition and basically decide upon a niche that you think is something you can compete for. Now let's go through each one of the actual keywords. Now we're at the get your ex-boyfriend back keyword, and the first two things I would like you to notice, it has a 559 daily potential clicks for that particular key phrase, with the phrase to broad ratio of 67%, which are two really good numbers that shows that there is a lot of demand of people looking for that particular keyword. With the actual phrase itself, most people are looking for it. Now the problem is there's almost 11,000 competing pages. But like I said before, I'm more worried about the quality of the web pages over the quantity. So let's take a look at the actual quality of the web pages competing against this one particular phrase. Now what I do here is I search under the SEO competition, and these are the top 10 lists of competing web pages. Now over here you notice a bunch of different factors, and stuff is green, red, and yellow. But basically this is the domain age, the page rank of that particular page, the index count of that actual total website. So for instance, wikihow.com, that has almost 19,000 pages on that website. These are the number of websites pointing to that root domain, and the number of websites backlinking to that particular page, and the number of total backlinks to that particular page, and these are the number of backlinks pointing to the total website. Now really the only four factors I really are concerned about are domain age, the page rank of that particular page, and the number of backlinks and domains pointing to that page. So for instance, looking at this, hubpages.com, that's what's considered a Web 2.0 site. That's a pretty broad, expansive website, but you can actually compete against pages on hubpages.com and wikihow.com because they have pretty much a variety database of information, but they're not really specifically geared towards that particular keyword. So for instance, with hubpages and wikihow, yeah, this one particular wikihow has a lot of competing back pages, but you might be able to compete for the number 2 spot because this one only has 13 backlinks pointing towards it. Now let's look at another keyword, the get over a breakup keyword. Now we're at the get over a breakup keyword tab. Now the one thing I wanted to point out with get over a keyword is it has a phrase to broad ratio of 55%, which is pretty good, but I kind of wanted to take a closer look at that particular keyword phrase and make sure that there's not some other sort of piece of information that people are looking for besides getting over a breakup. Now, the reason I want to point this out is sometimes you'll find a keyword phrase that looks great, but upon further examination, there are people that are looking for song lyrics or information that really has nothing to do with the actual keyword phrase itself. Now, if you scroll down, you actually see that most people are pretty much interested with information about getting over a breakup. The only thing I really found that wasn't really applicable was songs to get over a breakup and quotes. But, for the most part, this is actual people looking for information about that particular phrase. Now let's look at the SEO competition. Now, I did a little bit of cheating and I already know the results, and to be perfectly honest, it's not very pretty. I know that there is a lot of people competing for this phrase. So for instance, right here, domain age 7 years, 15, 12, 12, 11, 8, 15. Those are some old domains with sometimes millions of backlinks pointing to that domain and hundreds of thousands of pages. So obviously you're not going to be able to compete with them on the number of actual pages that are indexed, but the actual backlinks pointing to the particular page that's ranking, there are some spots where you might be able to compete. Probably I wouldn't shoot for get over a breakup as my first keyword phrase, but maybe down the road when I get some backlinks pointing to my website and I start to get some traffic, I might go for it again. But I just don't really think this is a good keyword phrase to target initially. Now let's take a look at some of the other phrases I pointed out. Alright, here's the Get Your Ex-Girlfriend Back keyword tab. And the one thing I wanted to point out with the top two of the top 10 results is specifically one of them is a .homestead.com website. And that's actually one of these you pay for they host your website type deals, and you actually don't even get your own domain name. So a lot of these backlinks are not pointing to this particular domain, is pointing more towards homestead.com. So the 72,000 backlinks pointing towards that, probably a lot of them aren't even pointing towards that particular page. And over here is one of these dash.info websites. So right here, just off the top of my head, I can see two websites you can probably easily compete against. And even the number one spot, really that only has 1,000 backlinks pointing towards your website. And yeah, it's going to take some time, but you could easily squeeze in there and get the number one spot for that particular key phrase. Now let's take a look at some of the other keyword phrases I'd like to analyze and research. Now one of them is magic of making up. Now that particular keyword phrase, that is what's considered the number one product in the Get Your Ex Back niche. And yeah, you look at the number one and number two spot, that is a lot of backlinks pointing towards the site itself and to that page. And probably you won't be able to get the number one or number two spot, but you could squeak in there number three, number four, and pick up some traffic from that unique phrase and a lot of long tail keyword phrases. So I probably wouldn't target magic of making up as a keyword phrase for my main tier one, but perhaps my second tier and third tier, when I start getting traffic to my website, I'd take a crack at it. And the number one or the number two thing or the number two ranking website that I find interesting is it's an article-board.com website. And again, that's a site where people create content and they dump a lot of links back to it because they know that they won't get sandboxed because they're hosting on another website. Now if you go over to magic of making up review, that's another keyword phrase you could probably try to compete for. And specifically, if you take a look at the keyword research, you see that it gets 91 searches a day. I'm not too sure if I would again go for the number. I wouldn't make this my primary phrase for the website, but I'll definitely target it for a second tier key page. And let's go back to SEO competition, and you'll see that again it's a phrase that gets a lot of competition, but it's doable. If it's a good enough backlinking strategy, you can compete there. Like obviously the number one spot, that guy or girl has almost 14,000 backlinks to that particular page, but down here, the number 6 and number 8 spot, you might be able to compete. Again, just kind of actually reanalyzing some of these phrases. I'm not too comfortable with really trying to compete for any of these spots. But again, I would dump some links at it and just see what happens. And finally, you could take a look at T.W. Jackson. Now, he's the author of Magic of Making Up. And instead of trying to go for the actual product name, you might be able to try competing for the author name because people might be interested in learning more. And as you see, the number 2 spot, there's really not too many backlinks pointing towards that page. So you might be able to get some traffic just by going through the author. Now, the reason I just go through all these different domain names is, different actual keywords, is you want to get a general idea of how competitive some of the different phrases are, and you want to start building the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 type of key phrases that you're going to target for your niche site. Obviously, some of them are going to be really super competitive and you won't be able to grab spots within the first month or two, but some of them, if you're smart, you can build some backlinks to and a good amount of content, and you can start ranking within the first month or two. Now, this is just one video in the part of this niche series, and if you have any questions about this process or anything particular about finding a niche site, just let me know in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to create content around that and answer any questions that you have. And this has been Steve, and thanks for watching.